Hey guys, my name is Ron Fox and welcome back to part 2 of how to play Harry Potter Wizards Unite. In this episode we will discuss combat. First up is Wizarding Challenges. Wizarding Challenges is where you and other wizards can battle enemies for rewards. They take place on locations on the map called fortresses. You can play them solo, but for a better chance of defeating all the enemies, you can group up with 4 more players. And when you play with more players, you also get bigger rewards. Fortresses with active wizarding challenges with a green aura. Fortresses contain a number of combat chambers, each one with a higher difficulty. When you join your first wizarding challenge, you will start in chamber 1. And if you finish that one, you will go to chamber 2. And so on and so on. And then there are runestones. A runestone is an item that you have to exchange to enter a chamber. Each runestone has a family and a level. So for example, you have Dark Arts level 5. The level will determine the difficulty of the enemies you have to defeat and how great the reward will be. And the family will determine the registry reward you may receive. Just a side note, it's not guaranteed that you will get a registry reward. The first person that consumes a runestone in the chamber will create a lobby. The lobby is a place where you will wait for other players to join, and the challenge begins when either the time runs out or you have 5 players. Once you are in the lobby, you will see a difficulty rating. The higher the number, the more difficult it will be, and also the greater the rewards will be. The difficulty number is determined by the amount of players, the chamber you are in, and the level runestone everyone uses. And if you decide to leave a lobby before the time runs out, the runestone will return to you. Alright, now let's get to the battling. In order for you and your team to finish the challenge, you have to defeat all the enemies. You can see the amount of enemies in the top right corner of the screen. As soon as the challenge begins, the timer starts ticking. You have to defeat all the enemies before the times run out. So if the time runs out before you have defeated all the enemies, you will fail the challenge. Before you start battling an enemy in combat, you can use focus resources to activate strategic spells on either your enemies or your allies. Drag a strategic spell from the bottom of the screen on your enemy to impair the enemy, or on your ally to buff up your ally. If you tap on one of the strategic spells, you will see what it will do and how many focus it will cost you. The focus meter on the bottom of the screen will show you how many focus you have left. Even if you have enough focus to cast a certain spell, it might still be on cooldown, so you have to wait a time out before you can cast it again. Certain enemies will have a focus icon next to them, so if you defeat them, you will replenish your focus again, not only for you, but also for your teammates. To begin combat, tap an enemy to show details about the combat encounter. You will be able to see any enhancements or impairments currently on the enemy, profession advantages and disadvantages, and any focus you gain from defeating that enemy. And you will also see if any of your teammates are currently battling that enemy. If a teammate is already battling an enemy, you can join them, but you can cast strategic spells on them to help them in combat. And when you're ready, you can tap that star button to begin the encounter. In combat, you must attack the enemy and defend yourself from their attacks. To attack, use your finger to point at the target icon. And then, once the meter is filled up, cast a spell by tracing the glyph. And to defend, drag your finger across the arrow that appears on your screen before the enemy attacks. Successfully defending will reduce the amount of damage you take. Use potions to heal, so you don't run out of stamina and get knocked out temporarily. The battle ends when the enemy runs out of stamina. You can see both yours and the enemy's health bar at the top of the screen. And then there are also elite enemies. Elite enemies are more difficult to fight, but they will also get greater rewards. You will know if you have encountered an elite enemy because their health bar will be purple and it will also show elite in front of their name. The higher the level of the chamber, the higher the chances that you will encounter an elite enemy. So before we end this part, I have 5 tips for you. Tip number 1 is play with other wizards. You have a higher chance of defeating the enemies and you will get greater rewards. Tip number 2 is that attacking will cost energy. So make sure to visit a lot of inns so your energy ball is full before you enter a chamber. Tip number 3 is to have enough potions with you. If you can keep your stamina up, you have a higher chance of defeating your enemy and don't get knocked out. Tip number 4, your professions have an influence on combat. Each profession has its own advantages and disadvantages against certain enemies. For example, professors will do more damage against pixies, but they will sustain more damage against Death Eaters. So unite with other wizards and create diverse teams, so you can get the most out of your professions. And tip number 5, when you are with players, don't play alone. Use your strategic spells for the other players so you can buff them up in combat. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and I hope you learned something. Make sure to subscribe to this channel because I'm planning on posting more videos and gameplay. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.